All right, so this is a story that I believe has been confirmed. We're going to take a look at some of the mainstream media news sources that back up this account because it got that verified identity according to the Reddit mods. But we're going to look at some of the main sources. But this is absolutely one of the most heartbreaking stories I've heard. Obviously, trigger warning for violence, domestic violence, murder, death. It's going to be pretty heavy shit. My Q dad snapped and killed my family this morning. Yep, the internet ruined him. Growing up, my parents were extremely loving and happy people. I always had a special bond with both my parents. 2020, after Trump lost, my dad started going down the Q rabbit hole. He kept reading conspiracy theories about the stolen election, Trump, vaccines, etc. He always said he wanted to keep us safe and healthy. Kept getting worse, and he verbally snapped at us a few times. Nothing physical, though. He never got physical with anybody. Well, at around 4 a.m. on September 11th, he had an argument with my mother, and he decided to take our guns and shoot her, my dog, and my sister. My mother succumbed to her wounds, and my sister is in the hospital right now. My dad also fired back at the cops, and they killed him. I'm shocked. I don't even know what to say. Fuck you, QAnon. I hope the FBI tightens its grip on you, and you get your lackeys rot in prison in hell for poisoning so many people. And chat, this is all linked back. If you were involved in the Drop Kiwi Farms campaign, Joshua Moon, the guy in charge, the founder of Kiwi Farms, was also involved with. He was a moderator on 8chan, which was the source of QAnon. All these evil, cancerous things are all linked together in the depths and cesspit of the internet, and they are so small. So I want to thank Keffels for going out and smashing them. Hopefully we can smash them even more. We can confirm this is authentic. I'm sorry for your loss, OP. We all are. If there's anything we could do, don't hesitate. QAnon-addled dad killed by cops after shooting wife, daughter. This is out of control. A Michigan man who had reportedly been sucked into QAnon in 2020 election conspiracies was killed by police after shooting and killing his wife over the weekend. According to Oakland County Sheriff's Office, at around 4 a.m. Sunday, September 11th, police responded to a call from a young woman in Walled Lake, Michigan, said she'd been shot by her father. When police arrived, they heard gunshots and soon confronted Igor Lannis, who allegedly came out of his house with a shotgun and began firing. Police reportedly fired back and killed Lannis. Inside, police found Lannis' wife, Tina, dead from multiple gunshot wounds to the back. They also found one of Lannis' daughter, Rachel, try to crawl from the home after being shot in the back and the legs. Rachel told the police that her dad had shot her and her mother. Rachel was then taken to the hospital, is now in stable condition following emergency surgery. The Lannis family dog was shot multiple times and killed. Though authorities have yet to identify Lannis' wife and daughter, her other daughter, Rebecca, confirmed their names to the Detroit News. Rebecca, who was at a friend's house when the shooting started, said her father had always been prone to mental health issues, but had grown more agitated as he fell into internet conspiracy theories involving QAnon vaccines and the lie that the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump. Nobody could talk him out of them, Rebecca said, adding, "It's really so shocking, but it really can happen to anybody. Right-wing extremism is not funny, and people need to watch their relatives, and if they have guns, they need to hide them or report them or something because this is out of control." And I want to say this. One of the worst things that you could do is look for individual solutions to this. There isn't any. This is a systemic problem, and it goes back to the deregulation of our mass media under Ronald Reagan. The so-called, they got rid of the Fairness Doctrine, and then they enacted the Buckley v. Vallejo, and then they enacted Citizens United. And they put unlimited corporate cash into our elections system, and through the Powell memo, the far right in this country manufactured these shills, these propaganda networks, and now you have social media, and this goes right back to our major social media corporations profiting from algorithms that want you to remain engaged, to spend more time on the app. So everything is about what can get people more agitated, what is more sensational, what can get people to forever scroll. This shit has to be regulated out of existence. We cannot allow this kind of batshit crazy stuff to exist. You know, the theory of the marketplace of ideas was just that, a theory. It's not a fact of human nature. It's not a reality that if people are confronted with the truth, it'll change their mind. We know now, through extensive experience and studies empirically and anecdotally, that people are not persuaded by logic and reason and facts. In fact, we know of something called the backlash effect, where if you show someone a fact that contradicts their preconceived notion, they will dig in even harder. So it's up to us to call on our governments and our states to do something about this shit. And that means I don't want some sort of like speech board that controls what can and cannot be said. Obviously, that would redound poorly to me. But what we do need is those guardrails that used to be on our society where people can't use unlimited corporate money to buy up every microphone and every megaphone in our society and spread right-wing insanity. There has to be a balanced view. We have to take away that unlimited corporate and fascist control of our communication system, our mass media. My God, dude. And we have to prosecute the people behind these bad faith, lying efforts. It's like the begging scene from The Boys when the guys get brainwashed every day watching Fox and eventually kills that guy. Have you seen that? Yeah. Don't forget the role played by the Trilateral Commission. They diagnosed the crisis of democracy as the U.S. wanting too much democracy and too much higher ed in 1975. Did you give any merit to QAnon being a psyop or at least weaponized as a psyop? I think it's impossible to say. Whether I tend to believe it's just a bunch of QAnon, a bunch of 8chan trolls that created something and then that spun out of their control. And because of what I said before, the algorithms and the insanity, it has become a product that has a life of its own and now sustains hundreds of people's livelihoods to just continually propagate this crap. Did Killer Broadcasting Group write to jail, please dissolve the company? I mean, the same thing happened with local newspapers. You know, and this is also something that's, I mean, everything is connected, unfortunately, it is. One of the things that happened is, as the internet became more important as a place where people consume content, advertising was consolidated to a few companies like Amazon, like Google ads, like Facebook. And instead of the content creators selling ads, now it's these middlemen, and they suck up all the fucking advertising revenue. And very little of that actually gets back to the content creator. And so local newspapers, local television, internet streaming, video making, that online content is going to these parasites, these advertising parasites who don't provide any content. And that is killing off independent journalism. That is killing off the investigative reporter. That is killing off local news. And, there's consolidation in the media as well. So there's so many factors that are just making everybody's quality of information go down. Rebecca also shared her story on the QAnonCasualties subreddit. She said that as her father became more engrossed by these conspiracies, he told his family he wanted to keep them safe and healthy. But Rebecca said her father verbally snapped at the family a few times. It didn't become physically violent until an early morning fight with Tina that preceded the shooting. I'm shocked and I don't know what to say, Rebecca wrote. Fuck you, QAnon. I hope the FBI tightens its grip on you and that your lackeys rot in prison and hell for poisoning so many people. We're all gonna die, chat. The hogs are growing, and in fact, it only gets worse. It's only getting worse, chat. To America's Index, democracy deniers. Share of U.S. adults who agree with these statements. Strong, unelected leaders are better than weak elected ones. Republican, 42%. Presidents should be able to remove judges whose decisions go against the national interest. I don't consider... The judiciary should be subservient to the executive and the legislative because it is inherently anti-democratic. This is not anti-democratic. It's anti-democratic if you take the judiciary and you use it to target political enemies. Government should side with the majority over ethnic/religious minority right. Trilateral Commission report on crisis of democracy. Still another threat to democracy in the eyes of the Commission study is posed by the intellectuals and related groups who assert they're disgust with corruption, materialism, and inefficiency of democracy, and with the subservience of democratic governments to monopoly capitalism. About 1 in 3 Americans prefer strong unelected leaders to weak elected leaders. It says presidents should be able to remove judges over their decisions. The findings from this poll shatter the myth that Americans overwhelmingly agree on a common set of democratic values around checks and balances on elected leaders, protection of minority rights, and freedom of speech. In this poll, significant minorities of Republicans and Democrats supported non-democratic norms in about equal percentages. Democrats were more likely than Republicans to say presidents should be able to remove judges when their decisions go against the national interest. Many Americans also believe the government should follow the will of the majority, even at the expense of ethnic and religious minority groups' civil rights. Roughly a third said the federal government should be able to prosecute members of the news media who make offensive or unpatriotic statements. Respondents younger than 35 or with household incomes below $75,000 a year were more likely to favor strong, unelected leaders and to support prosecuting the media or empowering presidents to remove judges. I mean, like, the remove judges who go against the national interest question could mean a million fucking things. And I gotta be honest, every single one of these points could be argued. Like, for example, government should side with the majority over ethnic/minority rights. Depends on what you mean by that, right? Do you mean impose the religion of the majority on the minority? Obviously, I don't agree with that. I'm pluralistic. But should you support enforcing Christian values on the majority because they say that's their religion? No. You should side with the majority. Every single one of these points, I don't know. These are pretty weak-ass questions. This is such a both sides centrist brain bullshit. Are you watching the stream unsubbed? You're making income inequality worse. You are doing anti-praxis. We are the only Twitch stream that will not accept scam advertisers, and I will never fuck you over by selling you crap.